I'm Bryce. I'm a vendor, so I have been calling on Rich, or started calling on Rich about 20 years ago, roughly 20 years ago. And my very first meeting with Rich was interesting, and for like Dean's mentioned, the very first time I met Rich, he looked at me, and he said, "You know, your company tried to sue or threatened to sue me, and I swore I'd never do business with you again." And I'm like, we got a long way to go. So, I figured that I had nothing to lose at that point. So we went sort of all in, and ended up, developing a business relationship first, and then certainly a personal relationship down the road. And I think of so many times and so many things that we did, with Kathy and Rich both, and Core-Mark trips, etc. And it was just fantastic. But to me, I know everybody here knows what Rich has done and does for people, but there's always these little things that he's done, and it's sending my son off at law school a gift card for gas, and it's thank you notes after all those trips that we took, or dinners that he had, and it's things like that separated Rich from a lot of the other people. And I was one of the mows that Mark Davenport mentioned, and that mow chip did go around a good bit over the years, but I've got a couple of stories. And Mark probably got the mow chip the very first time here. Mark, in 2012, sold his business for several million. Yeah, a couple of $100, right. A couple of $100. So we had already had a trip planned out to Bandon Dunes to play golf, and it was just Rich, myself, and Mark, and Bennett. And so we're out there, and we had a good time for 3 or 4 days, and so we go into the lobby to check out that morning, and we're all standing around, and it's myself and Rich and Bennett, and Mark goes up there to pay. And I mean, this is 10 days after they close. They go up there to pay, and his credit cards decline. And I promise you, with no exaggeration, we were all rolling in the floor. We were literally rolling in the floor at Bandon Dunes, just laughing. And you couldn't make that up. And one other time, we were out there, and we went to the casino. And I had a pretty big time at the casino, but Rich and I lost immediately, and Mark and Bennett and several other people stayed on this craps table because that's what everybody played. And so Rich and I, we lost quick. So, our limit was about $250. And so we go over there, and I'm just walking around, and Rich is playing slots, and we started to hear some noise build, so we could say, "Whoa, that table's getting hot." So we go back over there. And we go back over there, and we go back in with $100 or something like that. We walked out of that casino with $40,000 that night. So the best part of that is we all couldn't cash it in because we'd have to sign a tax thing. So everybody walked out of there with $4,000 or $5,000, and we couldn't take it off, so we all had chips and a bunch of cash. So I've been sober 34 years, so it's hard to believe that I put up with these guys, but it was a blessing.
Nobody wants to see you any other way.
So we take off to in the Suburban, and I'm driving, and I said, "God, I'm scared to death." We're looking behind us, and we go up to Taco Bell, and they're half drunk. Everybody's high-fiving everybody, and I just say, "Hey, let's just buy everything you got in Taco Bell," and we get Taco Bell. So we get Taco Bell and go back, and I look, and I get back out of the car, and Rich and Mark and a couple others, they had more on their shirts than they had in their mouths. It was literally a mess. But, you know, we have really, we really had some unbelievable times, but, you know, for me and for us, I just think about, you know, the way Rich was willing to talk to me every week, 2 or 3 times a week at times, and, you know, he was so sincere, and he was, you know, wanted to know what my kids were doing, and how my wife was, and all of those things. But it was, you know, it was something special, you know. And I think about what he meant to everybody in this room, and what he did for the Boy Scouts, and what, you know, the relationship that he had with the kids and grandkids, and Kathy. And, you know, we all, you know, the Boy Scouts have lost something when Rich left, and we all as friends and mentors have lost something for sure. And, you know, most importantly, the family's lost something. But, you know, to Joe's point, you know, we all have him in our heart. And you know, when I heard about this, I started making a list, and I've got a list of 40 things over there about that thick, and I said, you know, maybe I'll just start this off. Is anybody flying here for this other than me? Other than family? Okay. Family? Yeah, okay. Well, so I get the longest time. I got anyway, I loved him, and you know, the ability for 2 men or to tell each other they love each other. You know, when my dad's gone, and you know, to Mark's point, Rich sort of assumed that role for me, but he was more than that, way more than that. And you know, I miss him every day, and I know everybody in here does as well.
Nice job.